still remember the way you left that door. You didn't slam it when you left. You didn't say a word. You just stood there for a moment like you wanted to be heard. Your hand was on the handle, your eyes were on the floor, and I knew that something ended before you walked through that door. I remember what you were wearing. I remember how you sighed. I remember almost asking if there was a reason why. But pride was in the silence and fear was in my chest. So we let the moment happen without saying what was left. Funny how a final moment can stay longer than a year. Sometimes the smallest details are the ones that disappear. I remember the way you left the door half open like you might come back once more. I remember standing there with your absence in the air, and 1,000 things I never said before. I remember the way you left the door, and the silence when your footsteps hit the floor. I don't wait for you tonight, I don't need to make it right, but I still remember the way you left the door. For a while I kept the hallway exactly like it was. Your shoes were by the cabinet, your picture gathered dust. I couldn't move a single thing without remembering you. Like changing one small corner would make the ending true. Then one night I finally put your things away, not because I stopped remembering, but because I needed space. I opened up the windows, let the midnight air come through, and for the first time in a long time the room felt like mine too. Maybe love doesn't disappear when two people go their ways. Maybe it becomes a quiet song that slowly starts to fade. I remember the way you left the door half open like you might come back once more. I remember standing there with your absence in the air, and 1,000 things I never said before. I remember the way you left the door, and the silence when your footsteps hit the floor. I don't wait for you tonight, I don't need to make it right, but I still remember the way you left the door. But I'm not waiting, no, I'm not waiting anymore. Sometimes I wonder where you are when the city turns to blue. If you ever think about the life we almost knew, maybe you found somebody who understands you better now. Maybe you've forgotten how we used to work things out, and that's okay. I tell myself some stories have to end. Not every broken promise means the love was never real. You were there when I needed you, I was there when you were lost. We gave each other something even if we paid the cost. If I could stand there once again with your hand upon the door, I'd tell you what I couldn't say when we were scared before. I'd tell you I was grateful for the nights you stayed with me, for every little ordinary thing that once felt like eternity. I wouldn't ask you not to leave, I wouldn't beg you to stay. I'd just tell you that I loved you before you walked away. Ooh. again. I don't hear your footsteps, I don't expect them anymore. Ooh, I remember the way you left the door, but I love the way I found myself after you. We always say we're just friends, but tonight feels different. You called me after midnight, said you couldn't fall asleep. I could hear it in your breathing, there was something underneath. You told me about your long day, I listened like I always do. But somewhere in the silence, I started hearing more of you. You laughed about your old mistakes, I told you about mine. We stayed on the phone for hours, never noticing the time. Then you said you wished I was there, and I suddenly went still. Because friends don't usually say that when they don't know what they feel. Maybe we've been standing closer than we ever let ourselves believe. Maybe every late night conversation was becoming something underneath. Somewhere between hello and goodbye, I started seeing you with different eyes. Somewhere between every little secret, you became the person I needed. Somewhere between midnight and sunrise, I stopped pretending you were only mine. As a friend, as a feeling, as a memory, maybe you're becoming something more to me. I don't know when the line disappeared, but I know you're standing on the other side. Somewhere between hello and goodbye, I fell for you tonight. You came over the next evening, said you needed coffee and air. You sat across the kitchen, but your eyes kept finding mine. We talked about our favorite movies and the places we should go, but every little silence seemed to tell me what I know. You reached across the table to move a cup away, your fingers brushed against mine and neither one pulled away. You looked down for a second and smiled like you were shy. I've known you for so many years, but never seen you like tonight. Maybe we've been scared to ruin something that already feels so rare. But I'm tired of hiding feelings that are written everywhere. Somewhere between hello and goodbye, I started seeing you with different eyes. Somewhere between every little secret, you became the person I needed. Somewhere between midnight and sunrise, I stopped pretending you were only mine. As a friend, as a feeling, as a memory, maybe you're becoming something more to me. I don't know when the line disappeared, but I know you're standing on the other side. Somewhere between hello and goodbye, I fell for you tonight. Something changed. Ooh, I can feel it, you can feel it. Don't look away. Maybe tomorrow we'll be nervous, maybe we'll pretend it's fine. Maybe we'll laugh about this moment and go back to the old lines. But I don't wanna hide behind the comfort of what we've known. Every time don't say anything, just stay close. Your head is resting on my shoulder, and the room is almost dark. There's a little light from outside falling softly where you are. I can hear the city breathing through the window by the bed, but all I really hear tonight is every word you never said. Your fingers slowly trace my head, like you're trying to memorize the shape of every little moment before it passes by. I don't know what you're thinking, and I don't need you to explain. Some feelings sound much better when we leave them without a name. We don't have to talk about tomorrow, we don't have to make it clear. Let the night stay right between us, let me keep you here. Hold me a little longer before the night gives way to blue. Let me forget the morning and disappear inside of you. Hold me a little longer, like we don't have to say goodbye. I don't need forever, baby, I just need you here tonight. If this is all we're given, then let this moment be enough. Hold me a little longer, let me remember your love. You smile when I say nothing, and I know that little smile. I've seen it in the kitchen, I've seen it from across the room. There are pieces of your beauty that I learned without a word, like the way you close your eyes when the music starts to hurt. Your perfume's on my pillow, your warmth is on my skin, and I know that when the sun comes we may have to start again. Maybe we'll be strangers, maybe we'll be something more, but tonight I don't need answers, I just want what we have now. Maybe love isn't always promises, maybe love is just this close. Two hearts refusing to be careful for one night before they know. Hold me a little longer before the night gives way to blue. Let me forget the morning and disappear inside of you. Hold me a little longer, like we don't have to say goodbye. I don't need forever, baby, I just need you here tonight. If this is all we're given, then let this moment be enough. Hold me a little longer, let me remember your love. A little longer. Don't let go, stay right here, just breathe with me until the morning comes. I know the sun is waiting somewhere on the other side, and I know the night can't hold us no matter how hard we try. But there are nights worth remembering long after they are gone. And if this becomes a memory, I want to remember it well. No regrets about tomorrow, no promises tonight, just your heartbeat next to mine underneath the fading light. Let the world keep turning, let the hours disappear for a little while longer. I just want you near. If I could freeze this moment, I would leave it right here. Your hand inside my fingers, your breath against my ear. remember this, the way you held me close, the way the darkness felt like bliss. Hold me a little longer, till the first light finds the room. Let me keep this little moment before I have to let you go. Stay with me, just a little longer. Don't say goodbye, not yet, not tonight. The sky is turning silver, your breathing starts to slow. I know the night is ending, but I don't want to let go. A little longer in your arms, just a little longer, until the morning. Let me stay right here. When the city sleeps, that's when you find me. Your message comes at midnight, like it always does before. 3 little words on my screen, and I'm already at the door. You don't call me in the daytime, you don't ask where I've been, but when the streets turn empty, you let me underneath your skin. You open up the window, and the whole room turns to blue. You say you haven't missed me, but your eyes are telling truth. We don't talk about tomorrow, we don't ask what this could mean. We just let the night surround us, like we're somewhere in between. Maybe daylight makes us careful, maybe darkness makes us brave. Maybe we only know our feelings when there's nothing left to say. Only when the city sleeps do you let your heart come close to me. Only when the lights go down do you let me stay around. Only when the city sleeps do you say the things you never mean to say beneath the morning sun, where we have to become someone. Only when the city sleeps you remember how we used to feel, and for a few hours in the dark you let me touch your heart again. You lean against the kitchen counter while I'm standing by the sink. You tell me about your problems and I listen while you breathe. There's a softness in your voice that you never show outside, like the person underneath it all is tired of having to hide. I know the rules between us, I know what we cannot say. You disappear with sunrise and we don't speak through the day, but every time the evening comes I know you'll find your way back into this little world where we don't have to explain. Maybe we're afraid of wanting something neither one can keep. Maybe that's why we only love when the whole world falls asleep. Only when the city sleeps do you let your heart come close to me. Only when the lights go down do you let me stay around. Only when the city sleeps softly if I ever wanted more. I looked at you in silence because I knew what you were asking for. I could say that I don't need you, I could say this is enough, but your hand was in my hand and I knew I'd had enough. I wanna see you in the morning, not just underneath the moon. I wanna hear you say my name when the daylight fills the room. I don't want another secret, I don't want another night where we love each other freely, then pretend that we're alright. Maybe we can stop pretending that the darkness is our home. Maybe what we're scared to call love is the thing we've always known. If you want me, say you want me. If you need me, let me know. I don't need a perfect promise, I just need the truth exposed. I don't wanna be the person that you only see at night. I don't wanna be your secret when my heart is asking why. Your face and you don't reach for your coat. You look at me and smile like maybe we finally know who. Only when the city sleeps, no more. Your message comes at midnight, like it always does before. 3 little words on my screen, and I'm already at the door. You don't call me in the daytime, you don't ask where I've been, but when the streets turn empty, you let me underneath your skin. You up and we said we leave at midnight, but midnight came and went. The clock is somewhere past 11, but neither one of us can tell. Your shoes are sitting by the doorway, and mine are underneath the chair. The city lights are moving slowly across the ceiling of the room, and every time I look at you, I forget what we're supposed to do. You poured another glass of something and smiled when I said I should go. Then you turned the music louder, like you already knew I'd stay. We talked about the smallest things, just to keep the night alive. But underneath every conversation was everything we kept inside. Maybe we were scared of morning, maybe we just loved the dark, because when the world was sleeping, we could finally hear our hearts. We forgot to leave tonight, forgot the world was waiting outside, forgot about tomorrow, forgot the reason told me about your childhood and the dreams you never chased. I told you about the parts of me I usually hide away. You laughed at all my stories, then you looked at me so still, like you were trying to remember how it felt to know me this well. Your fingers touched my shoulder and the room became so quiet. There was nothing left between us that we needed to disguise. I could feel the years behind us, I could feel the night ahead, but for once I wasn't worried about what happens after this. Maybe we don't need forever to make one night feel real. Maybe some of life's best moments are the ones we never planned to feel. We forgot to leave tonight, forgot the world was waiting outside, forgot about tomorrow, forgot the reasons we were scared. We forgot to leave tonight, and I don't wanna know the time. Let the city keep on turning, let the morning wait outside. If this moment hasn't ended, we don't have to know it yet. We forgot to leave tonight, and I don't want to forget. Don't check the clock, don't turn the lights on. Stay right here just a little longer, let the night keep breathing. The rain begins around midnight and it taps against the glass. You move a little closer, and I wish the moment could last. I know there are unanswered questions, I know we have a past, but tonight we're not pretending, we're just letting something happen. Maybe when the sun comes up, we'll become careful again. Maybe we'll start making excuses, maybe we'll call this a mistake. But tonight I see your eyes, and I know you're feeling this too. There's a kind of truth in silence when there's nothing left to prove. If I could stop the morning, I would leave the night like this. Your head against my shoulder, your lips almost touching mine. No promises to tomorrow, no questions about before. Just two hearts staying honest for one moment Maybe we don't need an end, maybe we don't need a name. Some nights are meant to happen without asking them to stay. We forgot to leave tonight, forgot the world was waiting outside, forgot about tomorrow, forgot the reasons we were scared. We forgot to leave tonight, and now the sky is turning white. I don't wanna rush the ending, I don't wanna say goodbye. If this moment has an ending, I remember how it felt. We forgot to leave tonight, and for once we chose ourselves. Don't stay, don't say a word, just stay until the morning, until the light. The first light touches the window, the city starts to wake. You look at me and softly smile, like neither one of us wants to break. The first light touches the window, the city starts to wake. You look at me and softly smile, like neither one of us wants to break. We forgot to leave tonight. Maybe that's enough. Let the morning find us right here. The clock is somewhere past 11, but neither one of us can tell. Your shoes are sitting by the doorway, and mine are underneath the chair. The city lights are moving slowly across the ceiling of the room, and every time I look at you, I forget what we're supposed to do. You poured another glass of sun before your memory fades. Let me remember you tonight. I still remember your apartment on the 7th floor downtown. The way you opened up the curtains when the sun was going down. You would make a cup of coffee, then you'd sit beside the glass, and we'd talk about our futures like we knew they couldn't pass. I remember how you whispered when the whole world went to sleep, how you told me all your secrets you were always scared to keep. I remember every little thing I thought I'd never lose. Now I'm standing in the silence trying not to think of you. Maybe memories are changing every time I close my eyes. Maybe soon I'll lose the details of the way you looked that night before your memory fades. I wanna hold it one more time. The sound of you laughing, the way your hand felt in mine. Before your memory fades, before the years erase the view, I wanna remember everything that made me fall for you. I know the heart keeps moving even when it wants to stay. So let me keep this little piece before your memory fades. I remember Sunday evenings when we'd drive without a plan. You would rest your head beside me and I'd reach for your hand. We'd stop somewhere for dinner and stay longer than we planned. You would steal something from my plate and I'd pretend to be annoyed. I remember rainy mornings when you wouldn't leave the bed. You would pull the covers over us and hide beneath my chest. Those ordinary little moments were the ones I never knew would become the kind of memories that I'd spend years holding to. I don't wanna change the ending, I don't wanna make you stay. I just wanna keep the beauty before it slowly slips away. Before your memory fades, I wanna hold it one more time. The sound of you laughing, the way your hand felt in mine. Before your memory fades, before the years erase the view, I wanna remember everything that made me fall for you. I know the heart keeps moving even when it wants to stay. So let me keep this little piece before your memory fades. Don't fade away. Not tonight. Your voice, your smile, the way you said my name. Maybe someday I'll forget the exact color of your eyes. Maybe I'll forget the little scar you had above your smile. Maybe I won't hear your voice when a certain song comes on. Maybe one day I'll remember us and feel nothing wrong. And I think that's what healing is. Not pretending we were never there, not pretending I don't miss you, not pretending I don't care. Yeah, it's allowing every memory to become a softer light, something I can look back on without needing you tonight. If I could hold one photograph. I choose the night we stayed awake, talking until the morning about every dream we chased. You said you'd always know me, even when the years moved on. I didn't know how true that was until you were gone. Then let the memory fade slowly. I remember you, but I'm letting go. No more holding on. The night is getting quieter, your face is getting soft. I close my eyes one final time and let the picture drift off. For your memory fades. Thank you for the love we made. I remember, then I let you go. Rain keeps falling, and somehow I remember you. The rain is running down the window like it knows what I can't say. I've been sitting in the darkness, watching headlights fade away. There's a song we used to listen to, playing softly in my head. And for just a little moment, I forget that you're not here. I remember Sunday evenings when we drive without a plan. You would put your hand inside mine like you knew exactly who I am. We never needed perfect moments, we just needed somewhere quiet. Now the city feels much colder when I'm walking through it alone. I don't know why the smallest things still bring me back tonight. Maybe some memories don't disappear, they only lose their light. When your shadow beats the rain, I can feel you once again, in the places that we knew, in the things we used to do. When your shadow beats the rain, I don't fight it like I did, I just let the feeling come, then I let it disappear. I don't need you here tonight, I don't need to turn back time. But when your shadow meets the rain, for a moment you are mine. I still remember your perfume on the jacket that you wore. I kept it longer than I should have, then I gave it to the floor. There were pictures on my phone that I couldn't bring myself to erase. Not because I wanted you back, I just wasn't ready for the change. Now I see them differently without the ache beneath my skin. I can smile at what we had without wishing it again. You were beautiful in my life, even if you couldn't stay. And I'm learning that a goodbye doesn't make the love a mistake. Maybe we were only meant to share a certain part of time. Maybe losing you was how I learned to find myself inside. When your shadow meets the rain, I can feel you once again, in the places that we knew, in the things we used to do. When your shadow meets the rain, I don't fight it like I did. I just let the feeling come, then I let it disappear. I don't need you here tonight. I don't need to turn back time. But when your shadow meets the rain, for a moment you are mine. For a moment, I remember your eyes, I remember your voice, then I let you go. Maybe somewhere you're awake, listening to the same rain. Maybe someone holds you close and you never think my name. I hope you're doing better. I hope life has treated you kind. And if you ever think about us, I hope you only smile. I don't need another ending, I don't need another chance. Some stories reach their final page without losing what they meant. And if tonight the rain reminds me of the love we couldn't save, I take the memory gently, then I let it wash away. I used to think that letting go meant forgetting what was real. Now I know that moving forward doesn't change the way I feel. You were part of my story, you were never all of me. And the heart can hold a memory without refusing to be free. So let the rain keep falling, let the old memories pass. I don't have to chase tomorrow, I don't have to hold the past. Your shadow meets the rain, I can feel you once again, but the feeling doesn't hurt like it did back then. When your shadow meets the rain, I can finally let it go. Somewhere underneath the sadness, there's a peace I didn't know. I don't need you here tonight. Shadow meets the rain, I don't need to turn back time. Your shadow meets the rain, I can leave the past behind. I remember, but I'm alright. No more waiting, no more wondering, no more holding on. The rain is getting softer, the city starts to shine. I close my eyes and breathe again and leave you there behind. When your shadow meets the rain, I'll remember, then let you fade. It's funny what the quiet remembers, especially your voice. I was driving home at midnight with the radio turned low, streetlights moving on the windshield like a film from long ago. Then a song came through the speakers, one we used to sing along. And suddenly I heard your laughter somewhere underneath the song. I could almost hear you saying that I always sing too loud. You would smile and shake your head then turn the music up somehow. I laughed there by myself at something that was years ago. Funny how a single melody can make an old heart glow. I don't miss the way we ended. I don't wish to change the past. I just miss the little moments that I thought would always last. I hear your voice in the quiet when the whole world disappears, in the spaces between midnight and the memories I keep near. I hear your voice in the quiet, but it doesn't hurt tonight. It's just a little piece of yesterday passing softly through my mind. I don't need you to come back. I don't need another sign. I can hear your voice in the quiet and still leave the past behind. There's a coffee shop downtown where we used to lose an hour. You would sit beside the window while I watched you watch the rain. I went there alone last Tuesday for the first time since you left, and the place looked almost smaller than the picture in my head. The waiter brought my coffee and I almost ordered yours. Then I smiled at my reflection and remembered who I was. There was no dramatic feeling, no breaking down, no tears, just a quiet kind of gratitude for everything we shared. Maybe that's what healing looks like, not forgetting what was true, just remembering the beauty without needing it renewed. I hear your voice in the quiet when the whole world disappears, in the spaces between midnight and the memories I keep near. I hear your voice in the quiet, but it doesn't hurt tonight. It's just a little piece of yesterday passing softly through my mind. I don't need you to come back. I don't need another sign. I can hear your voice in the quiet and still leave the past behind. Ooh, I hear you, but I'm alright. Just a memory, just a melody, nothing I need to chase tonight. Sometimes I wonder where you are when the evening starts to fall. If you still take your coffee with too much sugar after all. If you still laugh at bad movies or stay awake until 2. If you ever hear a certain song and think about me too. But I don't need those answers to appreciate the past. Some questions can stay unanswered and still leave something intact. You were once a part of me that I will never need to hide, but the life I'm living now is becoming mine. I used to think that moving on meant leaving everything behind. Now I know you can carry love without carrying is almost over, the road is almost home. I turn the radio down low and let the silence come. I thought I knew that chapter, then you walked back into my night. I almost didn't recognize you, standing underneath the rain. Then you turned and said my name, and everything came back again. You were smiling like you always did, but something in your eyes had changed. Maybe life had made us older, maybe time had rearranged. We stood there talking by the doorway, like no years had passed between. You asked me how my life was going, I said better than it seems. You laughed and looked away, like you were hiding something too. And I started wondering quietly if you ever missed me too. We don't have to talk about the reasons we became apart, but I can feel the old connection waking somewhere in my heart. Maybe we were meant to meet again. Maybe time was never really the end. Maybe all the roads we took were leading back to where we stood. Maybe we were meant to meet again, not as who we were, but who we've been. If there's still a little love inside, maybe we don't have to leave it behind. I don't know what tomorrow brings, I don't know where this could go, but after all these years apart, I still know what I feel when you're close. We found a little table by the window where the city lights were low. You remembered how I take my coffee, and I wondered how you know. I remembered your stories, the ones you used to tell, and the way you tap your fingers when you're nervous but don't show. You told me about the places that you visited alone. I told you about the nights I learned to make this life my own. We talked about our failures without blaming who was wrong, and somehow all the broken pieces didn't feel so sharp anymore. Maybe we were both too young to understand what love could be. Maybe losing one another was the only way to finally see. Maybe we were meant to meet again. Maybe time was never really the end. Maybe all the roads we took were leading back to where we stood. Maybe we were meant to meet again, not as who we were, but who we've been. If there's still a little love inside, maybe we don't have to leave it behind. I don't know what tomorrow brings, I don't know where this could go, but after all these years apart, I still know what I feel when you're close. When you're close, it still feels familiar, not the same, but something beautiful, something I remember. You asked if I ever thought about us. I smiled before I answered slow. I said sometimes when the night gets quiet, there are things you never know. You looked down at the table and your fingers touched my hand, and that little moment told me more than any words ever could. We didn't rush into the feeling, we didn't promise anything. can leave the old story where it was and write a different one tonight. If I could go back to the beginning, I wouldn't change the way it went. Every loss became a lesson. Every goodbye made us different. Maybe we needed all those lonely nights to understand what we had. Maybe distance gave us vision for the love we couldn't grasp. So don't tell me where this ends. Don't ask me what tomorrow means. Just stay here for another minute and let me see what this could be. Maybe we were meant to meet again. Maybe time was never really the end. Maybe all the roads we took were leading back to where we stood. Maybe we were meant to meet again. Not as who we were, who we've been. There's still a little love inside. Maybe we don't have to leave it behind. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't know where this could go. But after all these years apart, I still know what I feel when you're close. Maybe we were meant to meet again. Maybe this is where the story bends. Not returning to the past, finding something built to last. Maybe we were meant to meet again with a little more courage than back then. If you feel the same tonight, you don't have to hide your heart this time. We don't need to promise forever.